Right, we're back on with the cases. My new piston jets have turned up, so I'll get them fitted. And anyone who's, you can see that. The number for these is 22307-99. Jet piston assembly with O-ring. So, a couple of new ones of them. They come with a new O-ring on them already. Right, so we'll get these fitted on. So I'll just put a little smidgen of oil on, just a little drop of oil just on the O-ring itself. Right, the screws for these are Torx 20s. And if I can find me Loctite, I'll start putting them in. Just a little dab of Loctite on just to lock these in place. And this is just the low strength Loctite. It's like a purple colour. And like on the bearing retaining plate on the cam plate, the torque setting on these screws is somewhat ridiculously low. I think it's the same as the screws on the torque plate. It's like 4 Newton meters. So you don't want to be putting a breaker bar on and tightening these up, because you'll just break them. But just snug them down. Right, and that's the piston jets installed. So what I can do now is actually start putting this thing back together. So I'll stop here for now, we'll get set up in a better place, better viewing, and we'll crack on. Right, this is the new crank. As you can see, I've put a bearing guide on for when I put it through the cases, so that the step bits of the pinion shaft don't strike the bearing or get stuck on the bearing. It just helps it go in easier. I've also give it a coating of engine assembly lube. So what I'll do is I'll get you set up in a better position, and we'll get this put into the case half. So knock you off for now. Right, just going to chuck a bit of engine assembly lube in this bearing, should I say. And don't skimp on your engine assembly lube. I've had lads that I know that have built engines, and I've mentioned to them about getting proper lube, engine assembly lube, for when they're putting their engines together, and they go on about how expensive it is for a large tub of engine assembly lube. And all I think, and I say to them as well, is, well, how much is it for a freaking engine? You know, this is your first line of defence against wear while your oil pump's priming itself. You know, getting the oil pump round system and up to pressure. This is all that's lubing your system up. So I can't even remember how much a tub of that is. It's only a few quid, maybe like, I don't know, tenner or something like that, compared to the price of an engine if it goes tits up and you wreck it. Right, I'll reach across here, grab the crank. And we shall drop it into place. Fingers out at rod. Right, that's the crank in place. I'll just knock you off a minute and I'll get this bearing guide off, and we'll carry on from there. Right, I'm going to put some sealer on these case halves. And you can see that 3 Bond 1184. Basically this stuff, if any does get inside here, when it comes it just breaks up. You know, it doesn't go like silicone where there's lumps of it. So if that's what you want, a good gasket, that's the stuff. So what I'll do is I'll knock you off again, I'll get these gobbed up, and I'll come back when they're ready to go together. Okay. Right, I've got it gooped up. I'm just going to put some lube in this bearing. I've got my bearing guide on. And now, carefully, right, I'll just knock you off a second, I'll get my torque wrench. Right, I've got my torque wrench, I've set it to 14 Newton meters, and this is for the first stage of torquing these bolts down. Right, and then tighten it up. It would help if I could actually see the frigging I'm gonna need glasses. Right, 26 is what I do it to. And then basically I just go over them again. Right, that's the two case halves torqued up. You'll notice there's a bead. I mean, there was already some that I'd thinged on, but I can see that there's a bead actually squeezed out of here, which is what you want to see all the way around. So, good thing about this stuff, even on black cases, just get a rag and it just comes off. And you just want to clean off in any inside. What I've also done, which I should have pointed out before I put the case halves together, is put new on the dowels on the cases, put new O-rings on. just want to make sure that you see that, yeah, just make sure that your crank spins freely, which it does. Right, now I've got that far. Oh, you might have noticed as well that I polished me case bolts. They're not new and they're not custom, they're just polished. So, right, I'll just knock you off for now and then I'll get it put in its stand. And I'll come back. Right, engine's in its stand. So next thing is I've got my thrust washer that goes in. I'm just going to put a bit of engine assembly lube on it. Bollocks. Right, next thing we're going to do is put the oil seal in. So I'll just knock it off for a minute while I get it ratched out. And we'll come back. Right, we've got the oil seal started into the case, just like with a bearing. I pushed it in a little bit and forgot to switch the camera on, as usual. I let the power pressure back off and now it's ready just to press home. Basically, just a tube that just pushes on the outside of the oil seal. It pushes it on nice and steady without doing any damage. So, I'll knock it off again, get it back on the bench, and we'll come back. Right, next thing to go on is your sprocket spacer. So I'll just get some lube on it. Spacer and just get it and that's it. Just grab a rag, get stuff off my fingers. Right, and that's it for now.